What's up, guys? It's Steven with the MacBook Air. Got a large board that came in today. Customer decided to do expedited service, which they need this board repaired before the weekend. And Ian over here had to deal with that situation. She was a little confused about how large board repair works, but you guys know how we do things here. Large board is never, we don't know what the really true issue is. We did a surface level diagnostic of the board. By the way, hello everyone. I am a father. Last video you saw that was uploaded was probably maybe 6 months ago, 7 months ago. I am a father. My son is now 6 months old in a couple of days. He is growing rapidly. He's walking a little bit. He's standing up, holding himself his own. He's crawling. He's doing so many things, and he is freaking a bundle of joy. So now I have something to work towards too, even more, and it is great. And I hope you guys know that I enjoy what I do, and I'm thank you for those that have been subscribing. I know you haven't seen a video in a while, but here we are. Also, new few things. Camera angle is a little bit different. We're actually going to be upgrading the webcam into an actual production camera, so the quality is going to get better. The room's a little messy in the back. Ian is now going to be a board technician. He's actually under my wing, and he's going to be learning. He now knows how to do LCD panel repair, and he's going to be learning how to do large board level repair. And he's been watching videos, but he gets to be beside me and learn from your sensei. That's what they would say in, I guess, anime. Sensei is like teacher. So with that said, it's an A2681 board. Let's go over the overhead real quick. We got a new microscope, by the way. As you guys notice, you can see that the whole mat is different. We're upgrading and we're moving forward. So got a brand new mat, got a brand new setup, got a better microscope, and is if you never heard of RF, RF is a really good actual company based in China that makes these really awesome microscopes. If you ever want to get in board repair, it's not cheap, but it's worth it. It's worth learning. If you want to learn with me, watch these videos. You don't have to be a perfectionist. You can call me the Bob Ross of large board level repair. Everyone's like, you didn't do this exactly perfect. That's okay. Little happy accidents. As long as the board works and it stays working 100% of the time, not too concerned about it. We always do our boards perfectly anyways, but we try to get the board to work as much as possible. Anyway, so I have a theory. So this board came across. I'm going to show you the actual overhead. This is an A2681. This is the customer's board, and this is a donor. So if you could tell, this is a donor. We got the heat sheetings removed. This one just fell off. And it's pretty much, we got a few things I want to show you. Ian went ahead and diagnosed the actual board, and the customer came in. The board was working. And what was going on with the board is that the keyboard was working as well, but the keyboard had this area of the keys. If I have the computer in front of me, I think I do. I think this is it right here. We're gonna go ahead and, because the customer's board is not here, there's no name on this one, you won't know who it is. But if you look at the computer right here, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the overhead real quick. If you look at the computer over here, you have these keys, and her G and B key wasn't working. So I had a theory. I was like, well, let me test this T and the 5 key. And lo and behold, the T and the 5 key did not work. And when you have a perfect line coming down like this, something tells me it may more than likely be a logic board level related issue. And it doesn't mean it is, but it most potentially, based on how perfect the lines are, because keys kind of run in lines on a board. Now, if a G didn't work and a U didn't work, it more than likely is a top case. But when you have a perfect simultaneous symmetrical diagonal line going down, because these work like this in the unison, it usually points to a large board level related issue with the keyboard. Either it could be the daughter board, or it could be the keyboard itself, but more than likely it's a large board related issue because the board is not getting the power or the communication it needs in order for it to function. So she can't log in. She has all her data there. So the good news is her board does turn on and her LCD works, the keyboard works, except for that whole line. That's a big problem because those are very important keys. You can't log in if your password doesn't let you, if your password has a T or a G or a B in it. You can't log in. So, and also if you plug in an external keyboard, just the company that makes these, it locks you out because you have to authenticate the keyboard now with the M series to allow an external device, i.e. a keyboard, to be able to type, which is kind of self-defeating when your keyboard goes out and they want you to authenticate it. Well, you can't authenticate it if you can't log in, and you can't log in if you can't type. So it's a double-edged sword. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And the same thing with Apple mouses. You can't do anything until you log in with your mouse and keyboard in order to activate your mouse and keyboard. Mind blown. Anyways, I get it for peripherals at USBs, but devices kind of already communicate that they're keyboards and mouses. So making that required needs to go away in the future. Moving on. And again, I didn't design it, so maybe there's a reason why, but I'm not going to dive into it. I think that is one area that needs to go away. Okay, so let's look at this under the microscope. This is what we found. Before we go to microscope, before Ian, when he pulled it off, everything looked good on the sheathing and the metal sheathing that covers the board. You have this area right here, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on the microscope right here, that looks like it exploded. So I'm going to bring the microscope over here real quick, and we're going to show you what, oh, also, the microscope is really much better. So you're going to get better quality and not a lot of shaking going on. So you see that right there? That right, well, actually, let me adjust this quick. Let me go and adjust. So we are in unison here. And voila. So what you see right here looks like something exploded, right? It looks like something exploded on the board. And lo and behold, we're going to look at the board now. We go to the area that exploded, and there's your problem. Okay, microscope needs to zoom in a little bit. Come up, and there we go. So there's our issue right there. There's our issue. We have this little area. Move this up because it's not zooming over there. It looks like we're in reverse here. Don't like that. So let me flip the angle here real quick, because it looks like the reason why I'm having issues is because the camera is reversed. So we're going to go ahead and flip it, transform, unlock it real quick. Give me 1 second. Transform. We're going to go ahead and flip vertical. All right. And then flip horizontal, because it did indeed. There we go. Now you're seeing exactly how I see it. Now we're going to go lock that in. So now you're seeing what I'm seeing on the microscope right there. This is the issue. You see that capacitor has exploded. That capacitor, we're going to go ahead and look at the actual, go ahead, where's the microscope main camera with the microscope? We're going to go ahead and pull up the board view. And of course, the board view microscope is not showing up because it doesn't want to show up. And of course, the board view does not want to blow up. So let me go ahead and restart this computer real quick, because the board view is not playing fair. So we're gonna have to restart this computer so we can see it. It seems that the board view is not showing up. So the computer is showing up, the board view did not. Give me 1 second while I fix that. So it's been a while. I haven't recorded a video, so I do apologize for not having these videos made. I know that you guys like to watch these and learn a little bit, or if you just enjoy hearing my voice. And if you enjoy looking at me, then you're more than welcome to watch me as well while I work on a board. You know, they say hot technicians look better. Anyways, so the computer's restarting, but while it's restarting, I'm going to go and talk about this board. A few boards have come in that kind of have this weird issue. And I have a hunch that has something to do with the metal sheathing, where it's grounded, and then you have these capacitors that are close to it, which has live voltage. And they seem to explode near the keyboard area. Either the board doesn't turn on or the keyboard doesn't work. And I have some assumption that there's something going on in this area that is causing damage with nothing the customer has done. It seems like it is a common thing I'm starting to see lately. Now, I'm not saying it is a failure or a flaw, but it's an assumption, and we need to see more of these to really rule out if this is a flaw in the design. So, okay, the computer is on. Let's go ahead and log in. Log in real quick, so thank you for your patience. Go ahead and switch to board view microscope. Oh, board view microscope did not do anything, so probably that was, go properties and see if it sees it. There it is. Got it. 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 All right, we are in. Good. We are in. Okay, cool. All right, let's go ahead and load up the Flex board view. Let's bring this bad boy over here. Let's go ahead and open up the A2681. All right, now we are looking exactly at the board where it's at. So we're gonna go ahead and bring this bad boy over here where it failed. We're gonna zoom out so you can see more. Okay, all right, there's that. I'm gonna go ahead and do one more thing on this video. We're gonna go ahead and full screen it. Okay, now, something is missing here. I don't like that. Give me 1 second. That is, I did a full screen. Close this. It is not, it is, I was doing the wrong thing. There we go. See, this is how you know I haven't done this in a while. Boom. Okay, no. Let's do this. Okay, now we try. Much better. Okay, cool. All right, now that I'm able to see this, let's go ahead and look at the board view and see what we see. Now this area is this area right here. This is CC335 and is PP5 volts underscore S2. And my thing is, why did this line explode and why is the keyboard not working? Well, this doesn't say it's a keyboard, but if you look at the board and come over here, and this is just a theory here because I haven't tried and I haven't tested it yet because I may be wrong. But you have PP5 volts underscore S2. And guess what's over here in this area? Now, this guy connects to keyboard LED. Well, what's the keyboard LED doing PP5 volts S2? Is this the issue why the keyboard is not working? Or potentially that capacitor exploded and killed that line and we need to trace it down to the keyboard and see if that is the issue. My assumption and my belief is that the actual problem definitely lies in the capacitor, why it's not working and why that keyboard line is not doing its job. Now, why the computer did not die beats me. Haven't looked into it too much. So we also have this in reverse. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this back out real quick. Close this out real quick because it looks like this board view microscope camera is doing the same thing again. So we gotta go ahead and transform it again. And then flip it because it seems that is always an issue. There we go. And then make sure other areas are not doing that. Overhead with microscope and me. I gotta fix some things. It looks like some things changed around. So we're gonna go and fix these. And transform. Flip it horizontal. There we go. Alrighty. Good to go. All right, back to this. All right, board view with the microscope. Let's go ahead and look at the schematics on that area and pull this over here and see what this shows us on the schematics and then just see if this has anything to do with that line that has failed. CC35 PP. Let's go do the PDF. I think we just put it behind it. There it is. Just gonna do this in the front here. CC35 power 5 volts. Let's go to see where that goes to. UC300. Let's go find UC300 as a curiosity. What is UC300? You got S2, you got all these areas, and what does this lead up to? Does this lead up to any keyboard? So let's go to UC300 and see if it leads to a keyboard. All right, let's pull up the PDF because it seems like the PDF is not playing fair with us. Every time I try to pull it up. Let's see where UC300 goes. Let's see if it leads down to anything that we need to know about. Let's continue to look here. I'm just going to go ahead and try that theory out and replace that capacitor to see if that does fix it, because I have a very strong assumption that is exactly why that line is not working. And we are going to go ahead and do a test theory with that. What we're going to do is turn on our, whatchamacallit, we're going to turn on our filter system so I don't breathe in chemicals and lead in the air. So we don't want to do that. We want to actually, where's the there's a microscope one. I think we did not, I don't think I did this as an overhead with microscope and me. We're just going to go ahead and do the microscope one real quick. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do that. No, let's just do the microscope. We're going to go and actively repair this one, and we're going to see what happens. Let's go ahead and bring in our flux. We're going to get started. Let's turn on our filter system. Okay, we're going to begin. Let's see what we got here. Put some flux down. Good news about this is that even though it exploded, it didn't destroy or ate a hole into the board. So that's a good thing. That is a very good thing. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and begin that. I'm just going to clean this off. I'm going to remove it off. Oh, sorry. The temperature on this one is really low. Let's go and turn that up. I just worked on an iPad Pro that had no touch, and we just repaired it, ran a line because it exploded on a line. So that wasn't a repair video. I do apologize. My tweezers a little bit on that one. I have 3 of them here. Where's my good one? That's not a good one. That's my good one. You go ahead and remove this. Let it heat up a little bit. Let it get hot. Just kind of heat it up. Okay. You're probably like, why are you doing this? You don't heat the board up too quick. You see the scorch. That capacitor was gone. It was dunzy. Why did it fail? No idea. I have an assumption. I can smell the burning coming from this area. Here's hoping it didn't destroy the pads. Doesn't look like it did, but we got to remove this bad boy. Add a little bit more flux. Turn the air up a little bit. This should come off, hopefully. If it ate a hole into the pad here, we may get lucky. Oh, no, we're good. That came off. Let's just remove this area. There it is. Uh-oh. Little bump right there. Well, that's odd. Did that capacitor blow up itself? Hold up a second. Let's flip this capacitor here real quick. Well, that's weird. We're gonna zoom in on that. I think that capacitor, it's bad luck there. We're gonna clean that up. That came off. Why is this attached like this? Looks like it's been refurbished. Not sure. That's a little weird. Go through the hole. There, that's weird. Gonna get this cleaned up. Like, it just kind of magically came off. Go ahead and do this real quick at an angle. I don't know why it's like that, but Okay, cool. Let's get some extra new flux there. I mean, excuse me, leaded solder right there real quick. We're gonna remove it afterwards, because that thing is a little weird. We're gonna do this one as well. Surprise, surprise. Get all the bad solder off. Cool. Now let's go ahead and remove some of that. Get my tweezers here. Matter of fact, we need a little bit of flux there because that is not happy. Get all that off. Nice. That looks good. That's good. Just need to clean it up. And I need to get me some Q-tips, which I have. I have a whole bunch over here somewhere. That works. I'll just take some of these. Thank you. My thing is, why is this like this right here? Like it's like one capacitor was gone and they added another one on top. It's like you can kind of tell that this was a capacitor before. I'm just really curious about if that's going to come up, and I'm going to remove that. Let's see if it does, because that should never have happened, but it did. I'll go ahead and clean that up real quick. See what I mean? This was on top of the pad. Why? Was this a refurbished board? I'm kind of curious why this is like this. Zooming in, I'm gonna focus real quick. It doesn't make any logical sense to me. This board has never been worked on, or has it? Was this a refurbished board is my question. Clearly there's pads on it. Yep, look at that. Yeah. That area up here, that little thing right here, that is from a capacitor. And that was, exploded. Maybe that could be why, not sure. But real pads and the real capacitor, I'm just going to go ahead and replace that other capacitor because I don't trust it. I'm going to replace both of those. Because why is it like that? Not 100% sure, but I'm going to go ahead and replace them. All right, we're going to put the donor board, the real board over here on the side. We're going to go and get the donor board. Because that makes sense right there. We're going to go use this donor board. We're going to remove this. Go ahead and remove this real quick. We got two capacitors they're gonna need here. Must have been a refurbished board for all we know. Not 100% sure, but that just doesn't make any logical sense that it was there, but good thing we caught it. We can go ahead and remove this one. Donor board, just heat it up, don't care. Take two capacitors off. Transplant them. Open heart surgery. I can smell burning. Okay, got that capacitor. Got that. That's why that capacitor came off really easily, because it was attached to something else on the board. Now that we have that, now I can actually add to do solder. So we can do our job efficiently. Okay, that's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. It'll do its job. That's a very, very high crystal there. Now we know that it came off like this. Uh-oh. That moved. We're just gonna go ahead. We're gonna turn the board to the sides. We're gonna do an angle hold here. Look at that. Oh, this came from the donor. Why does it have a bottom piece like this? That doesn't make sense. Why would it need that? That's my first question. You know what? There's probably a reason. I'm going to put it back on just the way it was. Okay. A little flux in there because I'm a flex. I like to flex my flux. Okay, that's in. Now, I'm going to turn this guy back to the right. Make sure we get our orientation correct on the capacitor, because if you see that little line, do you see this line right here? That's the positive side. And on the schematic, we got to make sure we're on the positive side, which is this side. So, this bad boy back over here. Hold it in place. Solder it. Heat it down. So, okay, a little flux so it can grip better. We'll throw it in the cleaner afterwards. There we go, much better hold. So, that's been repaired. Clean it up a little bit. We're gonna do a test before we throw it in the cleaner. We're gonna put it back in the board. We're not gonna use we're not gonna use this sheathing right here. Let me go ahead and do it over it. We're not gonna use this. We're not gonna put it on until we verify that keyboard works. If that keyboard works, then problem solved. I'm just gonna clean this up real quick, and then we'll throw it in the cleaner, and they should be able to pick up first thing tomorrow because we close here the next 5 minutes. So let's do a test real quick. All right. This right here, we're gonna go ahead and put this back together. We want to know, does it work? Will it work? That's the question we are asking. I'm just connecting things because it's the wise thing to do. If it can go to the connector, I won't have an issue. You know what? All right, let's see. Maybe I just need to move it a little bit more. This little connector is a pain. Maybe I just use a microscope. That'll help. Because this thing is not letting me do it. There. In. That's in. That's in. That's in. All right. Battery to connector. Connect the battery. Make sure the lid sensor connected. Connect the battery for a second here. Let's do a quick theory test. Let's go ahead and plug it up and see if it does work. We'll do we're not gonna I'm gonna hold the board kind of like there. I'm not gonna show you her name. Aha, that did not work. That capacitor being failed caused something else to fail. So now we have to trace it. So it's not working. So it's not working. The board needs more diagnostic. So it did not fix itself. But out of curiosity, are we getting voltage on that line now? That's the real question. Are we getting voltage on that line? Because if we are, we solved one problem. Because she had a problem on the board, and it was not just the keyboard. It was discovery. She had something else going on, and that may have exploded. It sent the signal somewhere. So we're looking for 5 volts. So we're going to go ahead and test for 5 volts real quick while it has got power in the moment. Got 5 volts on that line. 5 volts on that line. What? Let me go ahead and zoom in real quick here so I can see before I touch it. Five volts. So we now brought back 5 volts. My next question is the daughter board the culprit? Could it have killed the daughter board? That voltage may have sent to the daughter board and the daughter board's working, but the next thing I'm thinking is, could it be the top case? Could it be the top case, or could it be the daughter board? Now, the board needed to be repaired. There was an explosion on the board which would have caused future problems, but the keyboard's still not typing. So my assumption is now that we repaired that, did it kill the keyboard while I was at it? So I'm typing. Oh, would you look at that? The T key came back. Okay, so T came back. So the T key came back. So T wasn't working before, and 5, so T now came back. So T came back. So the T key has came back. Okay, G key is working with a hard press. Weird. It doesn't know what to do. All right. Okay, we're gonna have to continue diagnosing this. So more than likely, this board issue is more than just that capacitor. 2 capacitors went bad, which probably played a role into it. But we're gonna go ahead and try switch out the daughter board and see if it'll solve the problem. So I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the battery. And we're gonna go ahead and switch this bad boy out and see if that is the cause for concern. Do we have a daughter board? We do. That one. Yeah, A2681. I'm gonna swap out the daughter board real quick and see if it fixes the problem. If it doesn't, and then we have to swap out the top case. We're gonna have to swap out the top case and see if that will solve the problem. The only way we're gonna find out is by repaired the board. Some of the keys do press a little bit, but we're gonna go. Oh, damn! We're gonna have to take it off. All right, we'll take it out later. We'll have to take it out because we got to close. This video will continue. This will be a pause video, and I will link it back with the next portion. Record this real quick. Hey, so want to show y'all something on this repair. The customer said there was no liquid damage, but I'm gonna just show y'all real quick and zoom in on this area where the daughter board is. Daughter board has corrosion. Now, obviously, didn't account for why there was an explosion on the board and it was still working. But this is the keyboard area that communicates with the daughter board, communicates with the keyboard. You have all these areas that like kind of communicate with the keyboard presses. And that's how it translates to the board to translate to your image. And all this area looks good. And then until you come over here, you see that there's liquid damage on the daughter board. Lo and behold, we found liquid damage. Not everyone always tells you everything. Maybe, well, the customer's daughter was using it over the weekend, and we're gonna definitely take a picture of this and let them know that there was liquid damage on the daughter board. But that wasn't the main issue. The board did need to be repaired, and that's kind of how the cookie crumbles, how Jim Carrey would say, from Bruce Almighty. But we're gonna go ahead and remove this daughter board now. Ian had went ahead and got started, so we're technically closed, but we're gonna go ahead and remove the daughter board now. Would you look at that? The connector over here as well is heavily corroded. So if they ever want to use their headphone jack might not work. So we're gonna have to remove that. We're gonna probably have to swap out the headphone jack as well. There's corrosion on the headphone jack, and there's corrosion on the connector as well that goes right here. And you have corrosion on the headphone jack. Now that might be fine. We may not have to replace the headphone jack. I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up real quick with alcohol. Let's see what that does. But I think the liquid damage on the actual daughter board tells me that this most likely is the issue why it's not responding anymore. We need Torx 5. We'll go ahead and remove this. Be careful of the lid sensor and the Touch ID. So we're going to put this alcohol underneath here so we can get this removed. There we go. There you go. Daughter board has been removed. We keep these for donor repairs. If they ever run out, we have these to repair. We don't use them. We keep them just to do repairs if we need to. Okay. Right over there. That little pool was sticky. Not the end of the world to be covered. It doesn't show anything. Alcohol, Ian. He's already access to the daughter board, so if it rips the paper on the side, it's okay. It's still covered when you put a daughter board. This will be black. It's not going to impact anything. That's just a little piece of paper, or a little cover. It doesn't ruin anything. It happens most of the time. We'll connect that daughter board, and if it brings the keyboard back, we solve the problem and fix the board. And then what we'll do is we'll charge them for the daughter board, and the 2 capacitors, and the board repair. Thank you, sir. Okay. Also, it has its own. It comes in an L. Can't really do anything about that. I'm gonna slide in like this. Now, one thing is we had to clean this connector. I'm gonna go ahead and use a Q-tip here real quick. The question is that connector destroyed? It is not. It still has pad. Let's see if I can clean that up a little bit. It might be fine. It may not. We'll find out when we plug it in. They may need this replaced as well. We'll plug it in for now, see if it works. Doesn't, then we'll replace it. Problem is, it probably is underneath the actual battery, and we'll have to replace it, but that's okay. Okay, that's in place, that's in place, that's in place. Plug in the trackpad. All right, let's try this one more time. See if that fixes the keyboard. That there is corrosion on the daughter board. Let's see if that solves the problem. If that doesn't, we swapped out the top case. Knocking on wood for this lady. No. Still a board related issue. All right. That is still not typing. All right. That's it for the day. We'll stop here. We'll take a stop here. We'll have to continue the repair tomorrow. It is definitely logic board related, most likely, or top case. We might have to swap out the keyboard. We'll put the, you know what? That's a good idea. We'll try that tomorrow. And go from there. Hey guys, so that MacBook that I was working on is another day. So we figured out what was going on. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this real quick and show you guys in the back here. this is the board. I'll pull it over here because, anyways, it's not the customers anymore. She traded it in, but we found out what was wrong with it. She basically got a better computer that we repaired later. Long story short, we do trade-ins. We don't buy customers' computers, but we kind of help them in certain situations where if the cost costs more than the value of the computer, it's better to put that money towards a slightly better computer in our inventory. We don't carry a huge inventory. We just kind of carry just enough for situations where customers don't want to put too much money into their product or their repair. And one thing I want to say about our repair shop is that we stand by really trying to keep the price of the replacement at the same value of the cost of replacement instead of over buying one pre-owned that's cheaper than repairing it. Unless your data is that important, which in this situation, the customer's data was important, but we got the computer to work. I want to do a correction on the video. This is the second part of it. The daughter board was bad. We found out that later on, we found out she spilled liquid damage, and I think we documented that. I'm not 100% sure, but in the video, there was liquid damage on the daughter board, and there was the liquid damage hit the daughter board, and it sent that liquid damage straight down. Not the liquid damage, but the voltage spike. Whatever happened from that liquid damage that hit the daughter board area sent that voltage straight to the logic board and exploded that 5-volt capacitor. And that 5-volt capacitor was tied to the keyboard backlight, and lo and behold, the keyboard backlight was completely fried on her top case as well. And that thing was just, the pads were eaten up on the connector, so there was probably not going to work. We didn't want to run the risk on that. We put her computer back in and we tested it. It still wasn't typing in a video. So we gave her a call, and then Ian, said, hey, we got a top case for this model. It's not the same color. Let's just pop it in, put her screen on like this, it's space gray. So just to see if the keyboard was also damaged. And lo and behold, the repair I did fix the board. However, the keyboard also suffered the damage in that line area. And it kind of was new discovery. So I kind of wanted to go ahead and update you guys on this. This is the computer. It does type. We're going to be replacing this with a top case that matches. It's a silver. It is silver, I believe. It looks silver. Yeah, it's silver. The Starlight is a little bit kind of hard to see with a light above, anyways. But what I was saying is that this computer works. So the board repair was successful. I was losing my mind thinking about it. I was like, there's no way that the board looks good. There's 5 volts going to that rail. And I was like, well, the only logical solution is to replace the top case and see if the keyboard types. Lo and behold, replace the top case, it started typing. Everything works. So moral of the story is, don't spill liquid on your computer. Not saying the customer did. She said her daughter had the computer for the weekend and came back. Computer was working, but her keys weren't typing. And lo and behold, there was liquid damage on the left side. So moral of the story is, make sure your kids or your teenagers are keeping liquids away from your computer. Just at all costs, keep my thing is, liquid damage sucks. These computers are not technically liquid resistant. Compare the resistance, for iPhones, and they have the nice seal to prevent liquid from getting in, but you still can get liquid inside. These computers are they're not spill proof. They're not, and I can't stress this enough. If you have to have a drink nearby, have it an arm's reach away from your body, just so you can grab it, drink it, put it back on the side. If you have to have a liquid nearby you, keep it away, arm's distance enough where if it spills from your arm, it doesn't spill on top of your computer. I know it's hard for you guys that like to drink coffee out there and your smoothies and stuff like that, but I see this all the time, and I can't stress this enough. Keep liquids away from your computer. Well, Steven, isn't that part of your business, liquid damage? Yes, it is. Actually, it truly is part of my business. And this is what we do for a living. But however, I'm not going to be a gatekeeper and tell you not to do something so I can keep making business, because that's morally wrong. What my job is to repair the accidents, and those accidents are going to happen because people are not informed of how to do things properly with their devices. And we help those people, but when those people get those devices repaired, we train them and teach them how to have good habits. Hey, don't do this. Stop doing this. Stop using a knockoff charger. and I can't stress this enough. I wish you could use knockoff chargers, but Apple has, and I say the word Apple, they have made it very strict on the power negotiation for the boards. There's a reason why they did that, and it's not a negative reason, it's a good reason, because you want to make sure you don't send too much voltage down your board, or you want to need, your battery is calling for more charge because your battery is really low and it has to up the amps to charge that battery more, and the amps go down as the battery gets a little bit fuller. You don't want to charge all the time at a high amperage with a knockoff charger and it fries your chip, or worse, your battery, your board, and your ports. So these things are where we come into play and try to teach our customers that it's good to have good practice habits, and those starts off by keeping liquid away from your device. Just put it to the side, drink it, grab it, go over there, drink it, put it aside, but don't put it next to it. Or better yet, put it on the floor if you're on a desk. Grab it, drink it, put it on the floor. It's better that you kick it on the floor than you kick it on your $2,000, your $1,300 device, because at the end of the day, your limited warranty will not cover accidental damage. And they should be that way because it is your fault. And if you pay for accidental damage coverage, sure, granted, you got to pay a deductible. But in reality, a lot of these things can be prevented if you just protect your device. And these devices, now, what you can't prevent is like failures in the manufacturer design, a faulty capacitor that was on the supply line and millions that were made, and there's a batch of 10 million devices of 100 million devices that were made, and 10 million of those got a bad capacitor. Granted, you can't prevent that. But what you can do is prevent the accidental part. And that's where we try to inform you. Anyways, the repair was successful, and we found out that the keyboard is working, and we have a top case. Customer recycled the device, as in trade-in credit, excuse me, not recycled, traded in for a MacBook Pro 14-inch. Good deal. She was much happier with that one because that one's a much more powerful computer than the M2 that she has. And we just basically kind of like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna put this towards this. Here's how we're gonna do things. And we get her up and running because she needed that computer for the weekend for her job. And we found a solution. It doesn't mean it always work this way. We don't always work super fast because there's not only a few of us here. There used to be 5. There's only like 4. So it's kind of like there's not a lot of techs here. So we're doing the best that we can. But I will say this. Thank you for watching the videos, for all the new subscribers and everyone that has tuned in. Hopefully I'm a recognizable face that you will see when it comes to board repairs and stuff. I do want to make a side note. My wife has been stressing me a lot to do this, and she wants me to go ahead and do tech videos and start talking about right to repair and to start commenting on actual repair videos, not repair videos, but things that affect you as a consumer and your protection of your rights of owning your property. And I'm a firm believer of owning your own property, in that people shouldn't have a way to tell you what you can and can't do with your device. If you want to modify your device, you have every right to, because you paid money for it and you own it. Now, I'm against a lot of part pairing, because parts pairing is, to me, and I hate to say it like this, is the devil. It's against the core foundation and principles of individual property rights, and that you're now allowed to alter your property because they locked it down by a piece of code. Firmware blocks, software blocks, and all those things are anti-consumer, and I'm against those type of behaviors. What I'm not against is, hey, this is a genuine part and this is not a genuine part, and the software telling you which one is genuine and which one isn't. There's nothing wrong with that. I think I completely agree with that. I feel 100% I feel like 90% of the time you should always use a genuine part, unless there is a manufacturer flaw like a flex ribbon cable, like we call them flex gate back in the day for the A1708s, A1706, and the A1707 15 inches, where that was a massive problem because they had it short by a few millimeters and came in and it made it a few millimeters more in 2018 and more because those were killing the backlights. That's something that, has to be addressed. So there's a lot of things that need to be done about this stuff, and I am all about ownership, and I'm all about property rights, and I'm all about you being able to fix your device with whoever you so please. So, but commenting back on the actual repair videos and commenting on tech that's coming out, I will try my best to invest in, I don't have to invest. I actually have a production camera. I'm using a Logitech 4K webcam. I think I look fine. Do I look good? Looking at myself, I look fine. I think I look good. But I am a little bit of history about me, so you guys know about where I come from and why I'm doing this. I used to be back in the day a partner Twitch broadcaster, and I used to broadcast like heavily back in the day. I had a persona. I don't do that anymore. I've always been a tech guy. I built my own streaming rigs. I built my own infrastructure to stream professionally. And now I'm bringing that over to repairs because I've always been a repair person and a computer nerd is what you would say of tech. And I love tech. I love repairing things. I love fixing things and be like, haha, I told you so, where they say it's not repairable and I've actually fixed it on camera and proven that, yeah, it was repairable. Obviously, it was very hard, but we did it. And I like doing things like that. It's just one of my passions. But I will be doing videos, and hopefully you guys learned a little bit about, I know, these repairs, and maybe you learn a little bit about me, and you learn about who I am, and learn about the MacSpace, Mac Repair, and what we stand behind, and what our core principles are, and what we believe in. And that's what this is what my message is as the owner and the founder of this business. And maybe one day as a company, as you guys help us grow, is that I will stand by my principles and I will hold my feet to the fire, and I would expect you, my followers and my viewers, to hold my feet to the fire when I go astray. It's just a thing that Marines do, is that we hold each other accountable. And I'm gonna hold my employees accountable. I'm gonna hold myself accountable to the high standards that if I expect my employees to do certain repairs a certain way, I should be doing those repairs a certain way. Exactly alike. We have to be in unison, and that's how we succeed as a business, but as a community of Mac Repair. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.